All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going deep, real deep, into the world of Chad Waterbury and his training philosophies.
Sounds intense.
It is, actually.
Right.
And, you, our listeners, you guys are the ones who actually kind of pointed us toward this this pile of Waterbury articles we've got here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they all outline different training programs, but, we don't want to just list out the exercises and sets.
Right, right.
We want to go deeper than that, like distill the key principles, what makes these programs tick.
The why behind the what.
Exactly. Exactly. So you guys listening, you can really get a grip on all these different ways to build strength and muscle.
So many different approaches.
Yeah. So we got these plans, and they're all like super specific, like sets, reps, rest, load, all that jazz. So ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. First off, what really hits me is just how many tools Waterbury has in his training toolbox.
Oh, for sure. It's like, whoa, effective training isn't just one size fits all,
Right. Like looking at all this stuff, there are so many programs all geared toward different goals, different styles, but they're all backed by solid exercise science.
That's the key.
Yeah. And a good place to start, I think, is this anti-bodybuilding hypertrophy stuff.
Sounds intriguing. Anti-bodybuilding.
Yeah. Now, if you're deep into the traditional bodybuilding world, this might sound, kind of weird, but stick with us.
Right, yeah.
The main idea here in both part 1 and part 2 of these articles is ditching these classic moderate rep ranges.
Interesting.
Instead, he goes for these less common rep schemes, and you train more often, hit those muscles more frequently.
Makes sense?
Yeah. The goal is strength and muscle growth, hitting both.
And you're saying he calls this anti-bodybuilding?
Yep. It's a deliberate shift away from the 8 to 12 rep range that everyone associates with, building those big muscles.
Okay, so it's anti in that sense.
Exactly. Instead, these programs, they mix it up. They got low rep sets, heavy weights, which usually make you stronger.
Right.
But then they throw in some higher rep work too. So you're getting all these different adaptations in your body.
Hitting it from all angles.
Yeah, exactly. So let's break down Anti-Bodybuilding Hypertrophy I, this first program.
Right.
It's 47 days, and it has this really cool flow to it.
47 days, that's pretty specific.
It is. It's alternating, right? You got these high-intensity phases, working at around 80% of your 1 rep max.
Okay, so heavy.
Heavy, like a weight you can only lift once. And then you got these lower intensity phases down in the 60 to 70% range.
So switching it up.
Yeah. So picture this, right? Days 1, 9, and 17, you're hitting flat barbell bench presses and barbell rows.
Classic.
Classic, right?
But get this. You're doing 10 sets of 3 reps, and then you build up to 10 sets of 5.
Whoa, that's a lot of sets. It is, right?
Yeah.
But then on days 3, 11, and 19, things change up. You're doing stuff like barbell front squats, hanging pikes, and standing calf raises.
Yeah.
Usually 5 sets of 10 reps.
Okay, it's more volume.
Exactly. More reps, but a bit lighter. And even deadlifts get thrown in there, cycling through those lower rep schemes. So what do you think about this back and forth, this up and down structure?
Well, it's smart, right? Because your body is constantly being challenged, it can't just adapt to one thing.
Right.
You're changing the intensity, the reps, so you're probably going to see more consistent progress over time.
Yeah.
And let's be real, those 10-set phases with the short 60-second rests, that's a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely. You're not just lifting heavy, you're putting in the work, the effort.
Huge volume.
Huge. Okay, so then there's Anti-Bodybuilding Hypertrophy II, the second part, another 47-day plan.
Okay.
This one's all about gradually adding weight, bump it up about 2.5% over 3 phases.
Gradual increases. I like it.
Yeah, steady progress. What I find interesting here is the way the reps change within each week.
Oh, how so?
So day 1, you might be doing 3 sets of 5 using a weight you can do for maybe 7 reps. Good form, all that.
Gotcha.
But then 2 days later, day 3, you're doing 4 sets of 12 with a weight closer to your 15 rep max.
So lighter weight, but way more reps.
Exactly. And the exercises, man, they're all over the place. Dumbbell presses, barbell presses, partial deadlifts, overhead presses, the whole shebang.
Wow, keeping it interesting.
Right. And rest periods are a bit longer here, 60 to 75 seconds.
Yeah.
So what do you think all this within week variation tells us about what the program's trying to do?
Well, it seems like it's trying to hit all these different adaptations in a shorter time frame.
Right.
You got those heavy days for strength, getting your nervous system firing,
Yeah.
and those lighter, higher rep days to really stress those muscles and get that protein synthesis going, which is what builds muscle, right?
Absolutely.
And bumping up the weight each time. Well, that's classic progressive overload, keeps those muscles challenged. And, this brings up something interesting for you guys listening.
Yeah, what's that?
How often are you, actually changing up your reps during the week? Like intentionally mixing it up?
That's a good question. Something to think about. Okay, let's move on. We've got high-frequency hypertrophy up next.
The name says it all.
It kind of does, right?
Yeah.
Train those big lifts often, but not super heavy.
Got it.
So this one's 28 days, and it progresses every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Day 1 and day 8, you're doing barbell bench press, chin-ups, deadlifts, standing calf raises, starting with 10 sets of 3 reps, weight you can do for about 6 reps.
High volume.
Then you go to 6 sets of 5, bit heavier, closer to 8 reps max.
Okay.
Then day 3 and day 11, exercises change. You got barbell squats, dumbbell rows lying down, standing military presses, but now way more reps, like starting with 2 sets of 30.
Whoa, 30 reps. That's a lot.
Right. So what do you think? Why hit those lifts so often?
Well, if you do it right, training frequently can really boost muscle protein synthesis throughout the week.
Interesting.
So you're stimulating those muscles more often, even if it's not super intense each time, and you could actually grow faster.
So it's like the total amount of work you're doing adds up.
Exactly. And this program, it's got those heavy days and those super high rep days, so it's a really complete stimulus for the muscles.
Yeah, good point. And we got to mention the GPP and cardio.
Oh, yeah, important.
So it's not just lifting, it's building that overall fitness space and giving your body what it needs to recover. Okay, next we have more is better. And, well, the name's pretty self-explanatory.
More is better, huh?
Yeah, it's all about higher volume, moderate intensity, and making sure that workload keeps increasing over time.
That progressive overload.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this one's 21 days, and each week you add more sets. Simple as that.
Okay, I'm following.
So week 1, day 1, you're pairing exercises. Front squats and chin-ups, decline bench presses and back extensions. 6 sets of 3 for each, using a weight you can do for about 5 reps. Then each week, you add sets. What's the big takeaway here, do you think?
Well, it's all about that volume. The more sets you do, the more work your muscles are doing.
Right.
And, it's got to be challenging. Keep that weight heavy enough. That's how you make those long-term gains in both strength and size.
Yeah, makes sense. And again, they include cardio on those other training days.
Yeah.
So recovery is built in.
Always important.
All right, switching gears now. Power primer.
Sounds explosive.
It is.
Yeah.
This is all about building that explosive power, that raw strength.
Okay.
It uses different rep ranges and intensities throughout the week, first over 14 days, then a full 28 days.
Okay.
So day 1 and day 8, you got low rep strength stuff, close grip bench press, deadlifts, 4 sets of 3 to 5 reps.
Heavy lifting.
Heavy lifting. Then you got those higher rep accessories like skull crushers and straight arm cable pull downs. Those are in the 12 to 14 rep range.
Okay, mixing it up.
Days 3 and 10, same deal, different exercises, power cleans, back squats, incline presses, similar rep schemes.
So why combine these different intensity zones? What's the logic there?
I think it's about targeting those different aspects of power. The heavy lifts build that base strength and get those nerves firing.
Right.
Then the lighter stuff adds muscle and helps you handle more work, be more athletic overall.
Yeah, two-pronged approach.
Exactly. Now, get ready for something totally different. 1 set to failure.
Intense.
Intense is right. High intensity, low volume. And here's how you progress. Add 2.5% weight each week for 28 days.
Okay.
Training days. Just 1 set of each exercise. But you push that set until you absolutely can't do another rep.
1 set all out.
All out. But here's where it gets interesting. Day 1, they've got exercises like squats, dips, and rows together, skull crushers and curls together, and they list it as 10 by 3 at 80% 1 RM. Doesn't that sound like more than 1 set?
Yeah, kind of does.
Right, but I think that 10 by 3 is more like a goal for the whole program, not what you're doing in one workout.
So you're not doing 10 sets in one go.
No. Each set you do, you take it to failure. You literally can't do another rep.
Got it.
And you keep adding weight each week, so that's your overload.
So this program, it's demanding. Each set is really pushing you to the limit.
Absolutely. Recovery is key here.
Very important.
And guess what? They got cardio and GPP on those off days again.
Seems to be a theme here.
It is.
Okay.
Now let's get into how we structure our training. Straight sets versus antagonistic sets.
I'm curious about this one.
So straight sets, you do all sets of 1 exercise, then you move on to the next. Antagonistic sets, you alternate between exercises that work opposing muscle groups.
Okay.
This program's 8 weeks, and you switch back and forth between these methods every week.
Interesting.
You pick 4 big compound exercises, working multiple joints and muscles,
Right.
and 2 single joint exercises. And the sets and reps change throughout the weeks.
So what are the pros and cons of each approach?
Well, straight sets, you really fatigue that one muscle group. Great for maximizing growth,
Makes sense.
but it can take longer to get through the workout. Antagonistic sets can be faster because one muscle group rests while the other works.
Efficient.
And there's even some research saying that working that opposing muscle group can actually help you perform better on the next exercise.
Really?
Yeah. So this program lets you try both methods and see what you like.
Cool.
Now for something truly unique, contrast training. This is where things get like super specific.
Color me intrigued.
So picture this. You do a maximal strength exercise, often an isometric hold. Basically, you're pushing as hard as you can against something that won't move at a really high percentage of your 1 rep max.
Okay.
Then right after, you do a set of as many reps as possible, but still with a heavy weight. Then you do a higher rep, lighter exercise for that same muscle group.
So it's like heavy, but reps, then lighter.
Exactly. It unfolds weekly over 28 days. For example, day 1 starts with a flat bench press hold at 125% of your 1RM, then max reps at 85%, and then you move into 5 sets of 5 for your back, shoulders, biceps, and triceps.
So what's the science behind this contrast thing?
Well, it's supposed to boost power output. It's based on something called post-activation potentiation, or PP.
Say that 5 times fast.
Right. Basically, that super heavy hold and those max reps, they fire up your muscle fibers so you can do more in the following sets.
Ah, so you're primed for those working sets.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you're hitting those different intensity and rep ranges, giving those muscles a good all-around stimulus.
That makes sense.
Okay, next up we have Quattro Dynamo.
Quattro, like 4.
You got it. 4 different training days, each with a specific goal. Maximum strength, endurance strength, hypertrophy and strength combined, and explosive strength.
Wow, covering all the bases.
Each day's got its own exercises, sets, reps, load, rest periods, and you add 2.5% weight each week over 3 weeks.
Okay.
So for example, max strength day is low reps, heavy weights. Endurance day is the opposite, tons of reps with lighter weights. So what do you think? Why would you structure a week this way?
Well, it's like a balanced diet, but for training. You're hitting everything. Strength, endurance, muscle growth, power. It's the ultimate well-rounded program.
Yeah, it's great for people who want to improve everything, not just specialize in one thing.
Makes sense.
And don't forget that progressive overload.
Right. Got to keep those muscles challenged.
Now get ready for massive singles. This one is, well, kind of out there.
Out there how?
You're doing a ton of single repetitions, but with a weight you could normally only lift for 3 reps.
Really? Lots of singles, but with a heavy weight.
Yeah, it goes for 3 weeks, and the number of singles goes up each week.
So like on day 1, you might do 14 single reps of back squats.
Yep, with short rests between each rep. And the other training days during the week, those have those more normal higher rep sets for different muscles.
So what's the point of doing so many singles?
I think it's about building strength endurance at a really high intensity, like training your body to be strong and keep that strength for a long time. Plus, it might help your nervous system get better at producing that max force over and over again.
So it's about efficiency.
Exactly. And they still have those hypertrophy days, so you're not neglecting muscle growth.
It's a good mix.
All right, next up is Big Boy Basics.
Sounds straightforward.
It is. This one's all about getting back to the fundamentals, those big compound exercises.
Yo, that classics.
Exactly. Weekly plan with separate days for upper and lower body, plus cardio.
Makes sense.
Rep ranges are mostly low to moderate, building that solid base of strength and muscle.
So why are these basic lifts so effective? We hear it all the time.
I think it's because these exercises work multiple big muscle groups at the same time.
So you're getting more bang for your buck.
Exactly. More muscle activation, bigger hormonal response, which helps you grow. If you master these movements and keep adding weight, you can build a lot of strength and muscle.
It's a tried and true approach.
It is. Simple but effective. And finally, we have Waterbury walks.
That's a new one.
Yeah. This one combines body weight circuits with weighted exercises, plus progressive overload, of course.
Okay.
Each week, 2 main workouts. You start with short bursts of body weight stuff.
Like a warm-up.
Exactly. Then you do sets of weighted exercises like those Waterbury walks, chin-ups, and shoulder press squats.
So what's the benefit of combining all this different stuff?
I think it's about being efficient. You're getting your cardio in, warming up, then building strength. It's a good all-in-one approach.
For someone who wants to do it all.
Yeah. And, don't forget that progressive overload. Got to keep getting stronger. Okay, last one. The 10-20-30 method.
That sounds interesting.
This one's a real challenge. So you keep the reps and weight the same, but you shorten your rest periods every week. Yeah. 7 weeks, starting with 60-second rests, and by the end, you're down to 30 seconds.
That's tough.
The exercises are a mix of compound and isolation movements.
So what's the point of all this? What do you get out of it?
It's about pushing your limits, man. Training your body to work hard and recover faster.
So it's about work capacity.
Exactly. It can make you more muscularly endurant and improve your cardio too.
But you got to be careful.
Absolutely. You can't push yourself too hard or you'll risk overtraining.
Yeah, recovery is key.
And finally, we've got Perfect 10.
Perfect 10, huh?
This one plays with your reps and intensity throughout the record for the whole 4 to 6 weeks of the program.
Okay.
You switch from low rep sets for strength to higher rep sets for muscle growth.
Switching it up.
And in the later weeks, you even train twice a day.
Wow, that's dedication.
So why all this variation? What's the reasoning?
It's called strategic variation, and it's a way to keep your body guessing. You change the reps, the load, the frequency, so your body can't fully adapt to any one thing.
So it's like always keeping it fresh.
Exactly. And that helps you overcome plateaus and keep making progress. It can also target different muscle fibers and pathways for more well-rounded gains.
All right, so taking a step back and looking at all this, what do we learn?
Well, it's clear that Waterbury isn't about just one way of doing things.
Right. Like, he uses so many different methods, it's kind of mind-blowing.
But there's a common thread that runs through all these programs.
What's that?
Progressive overload,
Yeah.
pushing those muscles further.
Yes.
Smart rep schemes, targeting different goals, and
Yeah.
paying attention to rest to help you recover and perform better.
So important. And for you guys listening, this deep dive shows you just how many ways you can train.
So many options.
You can tweak those sets, reps, intensity, all that to get stronger, build muscle, improve your power, whatever you want.
It's about having the knowledge to make those choices.
Exactly. So what's the big takeaway here?
Well, these programs might look totally different at first glance.
Right.
But they're all based on solid exercise science. It's not just random stuff.
Yeah.
Progressive overload, choosing the right exercises, recovery, these are the key ideas that matter no matter what program you're following.
That's it. Understanding these core concepts is way more important than just blindly following a program.
100%.
So as you continue on your own fitness journeys, really think about the Waterbury programs that speak to you.
Yeah, find the one that fits your goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember those principles we talked about?
Variation, intensity, rest, overload.
Those are the tools you can use to build your own awesome training routines.
Your own personalized plan.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final thought for you guys.
Here we go.
Thinking about all these different training styles, which one do you think would challenge you the most right now?
That's a great question.
And how could you take some of these, like, maybe unconventional ideas and mix them into what you're already doing?
Yeah, shake things up.
Break through those plateaus. Find a new way to make progress. So get out there, experiment, and let us know what works for you.
We'd love to hear about it.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. See you next time.
See ya.
Catch you later.